Now let us study the detailed structure of a cell. In this part, I will discuss both the plant cell as well as the animal cell side by side, so that you can understand the difference between plant cell and animal cell as well. See, this is the structure of a cell. Cell is very small, that can be seen with only by a powerful microscope, so that you can see all the components, the nucleus, the cellular organelles which are present inside the cell. See the cell. The cell is actually covered by a membrane that is called the cell membrane or the plasma membrane. In animal cell, the cell membrane or the plasma membrane is the outermost layer, whereas in the case of plant cell, in plant cell the outermost layer is the cell wall. Next to the cell wall you can see the second layer, which is the plasma membrane or the cell membrane. See, the cell membrane or the plasma membrane, which is known as a selectively permeable membrane or semi-permeable membrane, because the cell membrane or the plasma membrane control the entry and exit of the particles, which will allow only certain particles to move inside as well as to move outside. That's why cell membrane or plasma membrane is known as a semi-permeable membrane or the partially permeable membrane. But in case of plant cell, in plant cell, the outermost layer or the layer which is next to the plasma membrane or the cell membrane is the cell wall. See, the outermost layer is the cell wall in case of a plant cell, but that cell wall is absent in the case of animal cell. See, the cell wall is actually made up of a natural polymer that is known as cellulose. The cell wall support and give strength and rigidity to the plant cell. And the cell wall or the cell membrane that separate one cell from the another cell, or it separate the components of one cell from the other cell. Now let us look into the cell. See, in both plant cell as well as in animal cell, you can see a nucleus. See, the nucleus is at the center in animal cell, whereas in case of plant cell the nucleus is towards side. I will come into that. Before that, see, in both the cells, in between the cell membrane and the nucleus, that means nucleus is covered by a nuclear membrane. So, in between the cell membrane and nuclear membrane, see, in between the cell membrane and nuclear membrane, there is a jelly-like fluid is present. That jelly-like fluid which is present in between the cell membrane and the nuclear membrane is known as the cytoplasm. Okay, that is called the cytoplasm. Okay, cytoplasm is a fluid, jelly-like fluid which is present throughout the cell. Now look into the cytoplasm part. See, all this part, you have a jelly-like fluid that is called cytoplasm. See, inside the cytoplasm, there are very small, minute structures which are floating, such as mitochondria, chloroplast, Golgi bodies, ribosomes, and so on. These structures which are floating inside the cytoplasm are called the cellular organelles. They are called the cellular organelles. The cellular organelles includes mitochondria, Golgi bodies, in case of plant cell, chloroplast. Okay, then in both the cells you can see ribosomes. Okay, in case of plant cell there is a bigger vacuole. All these structures which are floating or embedded in the cytoplasm are known as the organelles. Now let us see the organelles one after the other. See, all these are organelles. This is chloroplast in case of plant cell. But chloroplast is not seen in animal cell. In case of animal cell, other structures are there, mitochondria. Mitochondria are seen in both the cells. Okay, so let us see the organelles one after the other. See, I am going to tell you about the most wonderful, the most important organelle, that is mitochondria. See, children, this is the mitochondria which is actually present both in plant cell as well as in animal cell. See, this is mitochondria, you can see in plant cell as well as in animal cell. Okay, the number of mitochondria is not one. Okay, there are many mitochondria. See, the mitochondria is a membrane bound organelle. That means it is covered by membrane. It is having an outer membrane and inner membrane. See, the mitochondria is the place or the site where respiration takes place, and after respiration energy is released from the mitochondria. The energy that we are using for all our activities, all the energy. If you want to learn, if you want to run, if you want to jump, you speak, whatever you are doing, all this require energy. This energy is actually produced from the mitochondria, and the energy is released in the form of ATP molecules. ATP means adenosine triphosphate. Okay, so adenosine triphosphate are the molecules that provide energy for all our activities. Therefore, ATP are known as the energy currency of the cell. Since the mitochondria produce and store energy, mitochondria is known as the powerhouse of the cell. Okay, so you are getting the energy, the power to work because of the presence of the cellular organelle mitochondria. See, next organelle is the ribosomes. See, ribosomes are present in the cell, both in the plant cell as well as in the animal cell. Ribosomes are seen even on the endoplasmic reticulum. When ribosomes are present on the endoplasmic reticulum, then we say that it is rough endoplasmic reticulum. Ribosomes are small structures which are embedded in the cytoplasm. Okay, ribosomes are responsible for the protein production. Okay, see, we studied in the last chapter, after digestion, the proteins are broken down in amino acids. The amino acids are joined together to form a long chain polymer. They are called proteins. These proteins are very, very essential for our growth and development. Since the proteins are produced from the ribosomes are called the protein factories of the cell. Ribosomes are the protein factories of the cell. Next, Golgi bodies, or they are called Golgi apparatus. See, inside the cell you can see the Golgi apparatus. Okay, see, this is the Golgi apparatus. Golgi apparatus got its name because it is discovered by the scientist Camillo Golgi. That's why it got the name Golgi bodies or the Golgi apparatus. See, actually, the ribosomes produce the proteins, or endoplasmic reticulum produce the proteins, and these proteins are directed to different parts by the Golgi bodies. Therefore, Golgi bodies are known as the traffic police of the cell. Okay? Next, let us study about lysosomes. See, the lysosomes are present in animal cell. Lysosomes are the organelle which are responsible for digesting any bacteria that enter into the cell. If certain bacteria or some of the foreigners, some of the foreign substances when enter into the cell, the lysosome produce a lytic enzyme. Lytic means that having a fatal effect that can kill or destroy the foreign particles. Or if any cellular organelles are damaged or the lysosome itself damaged, it secretes a digestive enzyme and it will remove the foreign substance and or remove the worn out cellular part. The damaged cellular parts will be removed by the enzyme produced by the lysosomes. Hence, lysosomes are called the suicidal bags, or they are called the digestive bags of the cell. Okay, what is the other name for lysosomes? Lysosomes are called suicidal bags or digestive bags of the cell because it secretes some of the lytic enzymes that can destroy the foreign substances like bacteria, or it can remove the worn out or damaged parts which are present in the cell. Are you clear? That's why it is known as suicidal bags or the digestive bags of the cell. Now let us come to chloroplast. See, chloroplast is a structure that you can see only in plant cell. You know, chloroplast is the site for photosynthesis. Chloroplast is the place where photosynthesis happens, and chloroplast is the place where the food is produced. And we all organisms depend on this photosynthesis process for our food related process. See, hence chloroplast is the what you call food factories or the kitchen of the cell, we can say sometime. The chloroplast, see, this is the structure of chloroplast. Even the chloroplast is a membrane bound organelle. It is covered by a membrane. It is covered by a double walled membrane. See, inside the chloroplast you can see a fluid filled area that is called the stroma. And some coin like structures which are stacked one over the other inside the chloroplast. See, a green color coin like structure arranged one over the other, and this is known as the grana. Okay, this is called grana. Each unit of the grana, each coin like structure which is present in the grana are the thylakoids. These thylakoids are actually the place where the chlorophyll pigments are present. The chlorophyll pigments are present in the thylakoid area. The green pigment, which is responsible for trapping the sunlight for photosynthesis, are actually present in the chloroplast. Okay. So this is the structure of chloroplast. Chloroplast is seen only in plant cell, and it is responsible for photosynthesis, and it is absent in animal cell. Children, next come the organelle known as vacuole. Okay, see the vacuole, this is the vacuole. See, a big structure. Vacuole is a big structure. Because of the bigger structure of the vacuole, in plant cell, the nucleus is pushed towards a side. See, in case of animal cells, the nucleus is at the center because the vacuole is very small or it may be absent. But in case of plant cells, such a huge vacuole is present. Because of the bigger size of the vacuole, the nucleus is pushed towards the side. Are you clear? See, this vacuole is responsible for, see, this is the vacuole, you see, this is the vacuole. This vacuole is actually responsible for storage of different kinds of fluids. Okay, and this vacuole is generally covered by a layer. That layer that covers the vacuole is known as the tonoplast. Okay, the layer that covers the vacuole is known as tonoplast. Therefore, vacuole is also a membrane-bound organelle. Membrane-bound organelle means the organelle which is covered by membrane. See, chloroplast is covered by double-walled membrane, so it's a membrane-bound organelle. Okay, the mitochondria is covered by a double-walled membrane, so mitochondria too a membrane-bound organelle. Vacuole is also a membrane-bound organelle. Okay, vacuole is generally very, very big in case of plant cell, but it is small or absent in case of animal cell. Okay. Next, we are going to study about the most important structure which is present inside the cell, that is the nucleus. See, nucleus is common in both plant cell as well as in animal cell. Okay, both plant cell and animal cell possess nucleus. See, this is the nucleus of animal cell which is at the center, whereas in case of plant cell the nucleus is towards a side because of the larger size of the vacuole. See, the nucleus is the control center of a cell. Nucleus is a control area of a cell. Nucleus is covered by a double-walled membrane. This is known as the nuclear membrane, or it is called the nuclear envelope. Nucleus is covered by a nuclear membrane or nuclear envelope. See, at the center of the nucleus, you can see a spherical structure that is called the nucleolus. The nuclear pore, see the nuclear pore, you can see small pores which are present in between the nuclear membrane. Okay, the nuclear membrane is porous, that means it is having small openings. See, this is one opening, another opening, another opening. This opening present in the nuclear membrane is known as the nuclear pores. These nuclear pores are responsible for the movement of substances in and out of the cell. The nucleus, okay, the nucleus possesses a jelly-like fluid that is called the nucleoplasm. Earlier I told you cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is present in between the plasma membrane and the nuclear membrane, that is cytoplasm. The jelly-like substance which is present inside the nucleus, that is called nucleoplasm. Okay, see children, the nucleoplasm I told you now and the cytoplasm I already mentioned, that too form the protoplasm. So protoplasm is the combination of nucleoplasm and cytoplasm, and which is known as the living substance or the living fluid of the cell. Are you clear? Which is known as the living substance or living fluid of the cell? Protoplasm. What is protoplasm? It is a combination of cytoplasm and nucleoplasm. And inside the nucleoplasm, you can see lot of thread-like structures. These thread-like structures which are present inside the nucleus, distributed inside the nucleoplasm, are called the chromatin reticulum, or we can say simply chromatin. Chromatin are the thread-like structures which are present inside the nucleus or distributed within the nucleoplasm. But students, at the time of cell division, when the cells started to divide, at that time the chromatin condensed. That chromatin condensed to form the chromosomes. These are the chromosomes. See, chromosomes are condensed chromatin reticulum. The arms of the chromosomes, see, you can see the arms. Arms of the chromosomes are called the chromatids, and it is connected by a centromere or kinetochore. See, these chromosomes consist of hereditary units. The hereditary units are called the genes. Hereditary units which are present in the chromosomes are called the genes. And these genes which are present on the chromosomes are nothing but DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, which are responsible for carrying the hereditary characters from the parents to the offspring, from the parents to the next generation. Okay, you are possessing lot of your parental characters because of the genes or the chromosomes or the DNA that you receive from your parents. Therefore, we can say that chromosomes or the genes are the units of heredity. What do you mean by heredity? Heredity is the tendency of the offspring, that means you, the new individual, to resemble their parents. The tendency or the capacity of the offsprings to resemble their parents is known as the heredity. Either you are laughing, either your walking style or your skin color, many of your characters having resemblance to your parent. That is heredity. But you are not exactly the photostat of your parent, because when we pass from one generation to the next generation, there will be certain changes. These certain changes that takes place when moving from a generation to another generation is known as variation. Are you clear? So I told you about heredity and variation. The branch of biology that deals with the study of heredity and variation is known as genetics. The study of genes, the study of chromosomes, or the study of heredity and variation is known as genetics. There was a famous scientist who was known as Georg Johann Mendel, who is still considered as the father of genetics. Okay, he explained about the factors known as genes. What are genes? Genes are the units which are present on the chromosomes, which are responsible for passing hereditary characters from the parent to the offspring. Are you clear? So this is a brief note about nucleus. Are you clear? Now, based on the formation or the development of a cell, the cells are classified into two types. One is prokaryotic cell and another one is eukaryotic cell. This cell is an eukaryotic cell, and this is a prokaryotic cell. This is a bacteria. What is prokaryotic cell? Prokaryotic cell means a cell in which the nucleus, karyon means nucleus, pro means primitive, old. See, here you cannot see a proper nucleus. A proper nucleus is absent. That means the cell is primitive, the nucleus is primitive. Here the nucleus is known as the nucleoid. And here in this cell you cannot see the membrane bound organelles that we discussed earlier. We discussed about the membrane bound organelles like chloroplast, vacuole, mitochondria and so on. So such membrane bound organelles are absent in this cell. So a cell which possesses a primitive nucleus or the nucleoid, and in which the membrane bound organelles are absent, are known as the prokaryotic cell. Example, the cells of bacteria and blue-green algae. All other cells except bacteria and blue-green algae are eukaryotic cell. Okay, so prokaryotic cells having a nucleoid, or they do not possess a proper nucleus. In prokaryotic cell, the membrane bound organelles are absent. They are called prokaryotic cell. The organisms that possess prokaryotic cells are called prokaryotes. Are you clear? Then what about eukaryotes? Okay, now let us discuss about eukaryotes. See, this is a eukaryotic cell. U means true. U means true and karyon means nucleus. See, a true nucleus is present in this cell. In this cell you can see all the membrane bound organelles like mitochondria, Golgi complex, vacuole and so on. So a cell with true nucleus and that possesses all the membrane bound organelles are called eukaryotic cell. Okay, examples, all the organisms other than blue-green algae and bacteria I said. Say for example, all the plants, all the animals including human beings, fungus. Okay, all these are eukaryotes. They possess true nucleus. So, the organism which possess eukaryotic cell, that means the cell with true nucleus and membrane bound organelles are called eukaryotes. Are you clear? So, this is very important. What is the difference between prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell? What are prokaryotes and eukaryotes? Hope you understood this part. Okay. Now, see so far we discussed about plant cell and animal cell, and just I completed eukaryotic cell and prokaryotic cell. Whether it is a plant cell or animal cell, both are eukaryotic cell. Now, after studying both plant cell and animal cell, we can conclude that they possess certain differences. Plant cell and animal cells are different from each other only in few characters. Say for example, in plant cell, cell wall is present. Okay, plant cell possess a cell wall. See, the cell wall which is made up of a cellulose is present in plant cell, but in animal cell, cell wall is absent. That is one difference. And the next difference you see, the nucleus in plant cell is towards a side. See, the nucleus is towards side. Why in plant cell the nucleus is towards side? Because of the bigger size of the vacuole. Okay, very good. Because of the bigger size of the vacuole, the nucleus is pushed towards a side. But see, in case of animal cell, the nucleus is located at the center. Why? Because here vacuole are absent. So we can write one more difference. In case of plant cell, big vacuole is present. In case of animal cell, the vacuole is very small or the vacuoles are absent. Look at the other difference. See, in case of plant cell, you can see the chloroplast. Okay, chloroplast which possesses the pigment known as chlorophyll. This is seen only in plant cell. But in animal cell, chloroplast is absent. Plastids are absent in case of animal cell. Are you clear? Similarly, one more difference you can see centrosome, or we can say the lysosomes. Centrosomes and lysosomes are absent in plant cell. Okay, but they are present in animal cell. So what are the difference between plant cell and animal cell? Plant cell possesses a cell wall, animals lack a cell wall. Plant cell, the nucleus is towards the side, in animals nucleus is at the center. In plant cell the vacuole is very big, and in animal cell vacuole is very small or absent. Okay, in plant cell chloroplast is present, in animal cell chloroplast is absent. These are the differences between plant cell and animal cells. Hope you understood all the parts which discussed in this particular lesson. Okay? Okay, bye.